Get your daily news fix. From NewsSourceCrawler's latest edition. March 16. Get your daily news fix. From NewsSourceCrawler's latest edition. March 16, 2025, featuring crypto, politics, tech, and more. Number 1 hit and additional songs. YouTube Music Charts, Global Top Songs from February 28 to March 6, 2025. APT featuring Rose and Bruno Mars. Die with a Smile collaboration between Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars. El Mayor de los Ranas by Victor Valverde with J.R. Torres. AAJ Key Rat performed by Madhubanti Bagchi and Divya. Spotify Weekly Top Songs Global, spanning from the Friday, February 28 to the Thursday, March 6, 2025. Die with a Smile by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars, APT, by Rose and Bruno Mars, Luther, with SZA, by Kendrick Lamar and SZA, and Birds of a Feather by Billie Eilish. Nintendo US Digital Top Sellers starting March 10, 2025. Super Mario Party Jamboree, Minecraft, Overcooked. 2. Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Nintendo US Digital Top Sellers starting March 10, 2025. Super Mario Party Jamboree, Minecraft, Overcooked. 2. Super Mario Bros. Wonder. CISA's cybersecurity alerts and advisories. CISA collaborates with ASD's ACSC, CCCS, NCSC UK, and various international and US entities to issue guidance on edge devices. One more drop in the ocean of AI. Electric Alexis Notogen. Notogen is a model for generating symbolic music, specifically focusing on creating high-quality classical sheet music. It draws inspiration from the achievements of large language models, LLMs, and employs a training process divided into 3 stages: initial training on a dataset of 1.6 million musical pieces, subsequent fine-tuning on approximately 9,000 classical compositions using prompts that specify the period, composer, and instrumentation, and final reinforcement learning utilizing our innovative SELA-MPDPO method, which does not necessitate human annotations or predefined rewards. A river in Zambia suddenly ceased to flow due to an acidic waste spill from a Chinese-owned mine, leading to an environmental disaster on the Kafue River. The rising price of gold is pushing narcos into illegal mining in the Amazon. Mexicans are demanding explanations following the discovery of bones and shoes at a cartel camp. Ted Lasso renewed for Season 4, Jason Sudeikis returning. Netflix's most expensive movie ever, The Electric State, is a dumb, unfunny $320 million flop. A documentary analyzes Street Fighter II's cultural impact, 30-plus years later. NASA analysis shows unexpected amount of sea level rise in 2024. Melting Antarctic ice sheets will slow Earth's strongest ocean current, and Earth's strongest ocean current could slow down by 20% by 2050 in a high-emissions future. At least 32 dead as tornadoes sweep through parts of U.S. Trump promises to reveal his adversaries in a political speech at the Justice Department, labeling CNN and MSNBC as illegal for their negative reporting. Trump refers an 18th-century law to expedite deportations, but a judge halts it shortly after, as the White House declared the invocation of the Alien Enemies Act concerning the Tren de Aragua invasion of the United States. Additionally, Trump annuls nearly 20 executive orders from the Biden administration. The Justice Department is considering terrorism charges against pro-Palestinian demonstrators at Columbia University. In the United States, more than 50 universities are being investigated under Trump's campaign against DEI initiatives. A woman involved in a protest at Columbia University was detained for immigration violations, while another individual chose to self-deport, according to DHS. Ukraine's President Zelensky expresses optimism about concluding the war. Following a request from Trump, Putin announces he will allow Ukrainian troops in Kursk to remain if they surrender. Zelensky denies any encirclement of Ukrainian troops in Russia's Kursk region, accusing Putin of deceit. Trump clarifies he was being somewhat sarcastic when he claimed he could end the Russia-Ukraine war in 24 hours. Meanwhile, Germany secures an agreement to significantly increase spending on defense, climate, and other areas. AI researchers doubt that current models will result in artificial general intelligence. A Japanese startup, Sakana, creates the world's first AI-generated paper, which successfully undergoes peer review. Experiments suggest that ChatGPT is seen as more empathetic than human crisis responders. Foxconn supports AI servers following a decline in profits and predicts robust growth in AI server demand by 2025. JP Morgan engineers experience a 20% increase in efficiency due to a coding assistant. TechCrunch notes confusion about the definition of an AI agent. Amazon will no longer allow users to opt out of sending Echo voice recordings to the cloud, with all Echo interactions being sent to Amazon beginning March 28. Baidu, a Chinese company, introduces a new, complementary AI model to challenge DeepSeek. Meanwhile, Sesame, the entity responsible for the popular virtual assistant Maya, unveils its foundational AI model. Additionally, China mandates the labeling of online content produced by AI. Will Smith is planning to release his first full-length album in more than 2 decades, titled Based on a True Story, which is scheduled for a March 2025 debut. Meanwhile, Sony is developing a reboot of Starship Troopers, with Neil Blomkamp set to direct a new adaptation of the science fiction novel. Additionally, Stephen Curry has made history as the first NBA player to achieve 4,000 three-pointers. In the U.S., the housing market is tightening, with the income required to purchase a typical home increasing by 79% over the past 5 years. Bloomberg indicates that Gen Z Americans lack sufficient savings to cover even a single month of expenses. Additionally, in the U.S., a staggering $12.5 billion was reported lost to scams and fraud in 2024, disproportionately affecting older adults. SpaceX plans to launch 5 uncrewed starships to Mars by 2026, with crewed missions to follow. Blue Ghost successfully captured a total lunar eclipse from the moon. A physicist proposes the possibility of us being inside a black hole, citing unusual galaxy movements, as a perplexing observation by the James Webb Space Telescope reveals that galaxies in the distant universe rotate in the same direction. Rubio announces South African ambassador to the U.S. as persona non grata due to Trump comments, while the U.S. expels the ambassador, accusing him of hating Trump. The EU removes Russian oligarchs from its list following sanctions pressure from Hungary and Slovakia. China's intense criticism of the Panama port deal places pressure on the Li Ka-shing family. Chinese scientists have engineered E. coli to become photosynthetic. MIT engineers have successfully converted skin cells directly into neurons for use in cell therapy. The spraying of water microdroplets creates luminescence and initiates chemical reactions in the adjacent gas, with tiny microlightning flashes within water droplets potentially having ignited life on Earth. RCS update introduces end-to-end encryption, with Google and Apple confirming their support. Apple will soon enable encrypted RCS messaging with Android users. An internet breakthrough sees the unveiling of the world's first operating system for quantum networks, QNOD OS, which is the first of its kind and sets the stage for future quantum applications. A Chinese team has officially reported on Zhuangzi 3.0, claiming a speedup of 1 million times over Google's Sycamore. U.S. targets 41 countries for travel curbs ranging from Iran to Pakistan, memo. In the U.S., State Department imposes sanctions on Thai officials after Uyghur men are deported to China. Bill to block Chinese student visas is introduced in U.S. Congress. China pledges increased investment in the challenging endeavor of job creation. Hong Kong is preparing to lift the storage limit for embryos and gametes. Wind and solar energy have surpassed coal power for the first time in the United States. China's observatory in Chile faces uncertainty due to U.S. concerns about possible military use. After 43 years of engineering, China's indigenous beef cattle breed is set to debut globally, with its first export to Laos. Documents reveal that a Vietnam regulator has proposed approving Chinese Comac jets. Japan's Supreme Court sets the stage for the Unification Church's dissolution. Indonesia starts discussions on permitting soldiers to hold civilian positions. Cloudflare's CAPTCHA system seems to obstruct specialized browsers like Pale Moon. Joby is set to introduce an air taxi service in the UK in collaboration with Virgin Atlantic. Tesla is considering a more affordable version of the Model Y and a self-driving upgrade to counteract the decline in sales in China. Waymo received almost 600 parking tickets in San Francisco last year. U.S. weather agency job cuts may threaten climate risk data, insurers caution. VOA journalists placed on administrative leave following Trump's decision to eliminate the parent agency, and Voice of America terminating contracts with Associated Press, Reuters, and Agence France Presse. Vance anticipates a significant TikTok deal by the April 5 deadline. Bloomberg notes that AI enthusiasm is spreading throughout China's political circles, boosting tech optimism, and that DeepSeek, a national treasure in China, is now under strict protection. In the U.S., the House GOP has issued subpoenas to major tech companies seeking evidence that President Biden influenced AI to adopt progressive views. Additionally, the FBI and CISA have alerted that 1.8 billion Gmail accounts are potentially vulnerable to the Medusa ransomware. Observing scenes from nature has been shown to alleviate pain, according to a neuroimaging study. A midlife waist-to-hip ratio that is lower is associated with a longer duration of cognitive function. Research indicates that brief alterations in diet can result in obesity. Delivery driver suffers severe burns from hot tea at Starbucks, receives $50 million compensation from LA jury. SpaceX reveals that not all dying Starlink satellites completely burn up upon re-entry. Sweden's Klarna announces a 24% revenue increase in its eagerly anticipated U.S. IPO filing. ISIS leader in Iraq and Syria has been killed, according to the Iraqi Prime Minister. The United States has initiated significant airstrikes targeting Houthi positions in Yemen, resulting in at least 9 fatalities, as former President Trump declares decisive and powerful strikes on Yemen's Houthis, warning hell will rain down upon you. Acute malnutrition rates have increased by twofold within a single month in the northern region of the Gaza Strip, as reported by UNICEF. Nationwide demonstrations are being organized following the detention of a former Columbia University activist by immigration enforcement. Hamas declares it will only free the American-Israeli hostage upon the execution of a ceasefire agreement, while Israel continues its military operations in Gaza despite the truce. A pro-Israel organization claims to possess a deportation list and has reportedly submitted thousands of names to Trump administration officials. 21 Shares plans to liquidate 2 Bitcoin and Ether futures ETFs due to the market downturn. Block is focusing on lending expansion following a stock slump 1 month ago, as reported by Reuters. Binance CEO suggests Trump might influence a global pro-crypto movement. Crypto password cracking firm Unciphered faces turmoil due to co-founder's controversial past. Dual Russian and Israeli national extradited to the United States for his involvement in the Lockbit ransomware conspiracy. Pirate Bay financier and far-right activist Carl Lundstrom passes away in a plane crash. EU plans to allocate $5 billion to South Africa following the withdrawal of U.S. aid. The Atlantic notes that Democrats in the U.S. face challenges with male representation. In the U.S., local funding for initiatives like airports and mentorship programs is vanishing amidst the budget conflict.
Get your daily news fix from NewsSourceScrawler's latest edition. March 14, 2025, featuring crypto, politics, tech, and more. Number 1 hit and additional songs. YouTube Music Charts. Global Top Songs from February 28 to March 6, 2025. APT featuring Rose and Bruno Mars. Die with a Smile collaboration between Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars. El Mayor de los Ranas by Victor Valverde with J.R. Torres. AAJ Key Rap performed by Madhu Banti Bagchi and Divya. Spotify Weekly Top Songs Global, spanning from the Friday, February 28 to the Thursday, March 6, 2025. Die with a Smile by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars, APT by Rose and Bruno Mars, Luther, with SZA, by Kendrick Lamar and SZA, and Birds of a Feather by Billie Eilish. Nintendo US digital top sellers starting March 10, 2025. Super Mario Party Jamboree, Minecraft, Overcooked. 2. Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Nintendo US digital top sellers starting March 10, 2025. Super Mario Party Jamboree, Minecraft, Overcooked. 2. Super Mario Bros. Wonder. CISA's cybersecurity alerts and advisories. CISA collaborates with ASD's ACSC, CCCS, NCSC UK, and various international and US entities to issue guidance on edge devices. One more drop in the ocean of AI. Electric Alexis Notagen. Notagen is a model for generating symbolic music, specifically focusing on creating high-quality classical sheet music. It draws inspiration from the achievements of large language models, LLMs, and employs a training process divided into 3 stages: initial training on a dataset of 1.6 million musical pieces, subsequent fine-tuning on approximately 9,000 classical compositions using prompts that specify the period, composer, and instrumentation, and final reinforcement learning utilizing our innovative CLAM PDPO method, which does not necessitate human annotations or predefined rewards. Health NZ managed $28 billion in public funds with a single Excel spreadsheet, raising significant concerns according to a report. Starmer eliminates NHS England, resulting in thousands of job losses to reduce bureaucracy. Johns Hopkins in the US cuts over 2,000 jobs following USAID reductions. Ballista botnet takes advantage of unpatched TP-Link vulnerability, affecting more than 6,000 devices. Android applications containing North Korean spyware discovered on Google Play. FCC establishes a national security unit to address state-sponsored threats to U.S. telecommunications. 404 Media reports the extensive list of over 200 sites being monitored by an ICE surveillance contractor. A comprehensive report on the next-generation Xbox is expected to be released in 2027, while an Xbox-branded gaming handheld is anticipated to launch later in 2025. Within just 1 week, Saudi Arabia has acquired Pokémon Go and a significant portion of Street Fighter's esports industry. Microsoft's latest innovation, the Xbox Copilot, will serve as an AI gaming coach. Greenland's gradualists towards independence triumph in the election, coinciding with Trump's promise to control the region. Trump envisions the U.S. annexing Greenland, despite a NATO leader informing him that the organization will not engage in any potential takeover. Additionally, Greenlanders reportedly reject Trump's advances, with rare earth minerals influencing coalition discussions. The Pentagon is reportedly instructed to offer military options to guarantee U.S. access to the Panama Canal, according to a memo. Meanwhile, China advises C.K. Hutchison to reconsider its Panama ports deal, criticizing the plan to sell Panama Canal ports to BlackRock as spineless. 10 months prior, China secured the bid to construct Georgia's new Black Sea container port. Putin and Lukashenko have signed a protocol allowing Belarusians and Russians to vote in local elections in each other's countries. During a measles outbreak, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. proposes that contracting the infection provides the best immunity. He also associates the measles outbreak with inadequate diet and health, referencing unconventional theories. Additionally, Germany's BND suggests that the COVID pandemic was probably triggered by a laboratory accident. Furthermore, a study indicates that the U.S. duck population has decreased by 30% since 2017. J.P. Morgan reduces its price forecast for Tesla shares, anticipating decreased deliveries. BMW reports a 37% decline in yearly net profit and cautions about weak Chinese demand. Mercedes introduces an entry-level electric sedan as a competitive move against Tesla. Pete Hegseth plans to reform U.S. military lawyers to ease war rules. A UN probe declared the Israel attack on a Gaza IVF clinic a genocidal act. Migrants still at Guantanamo Bay have been relocated to Louisiana for deportation, with Trump considering the Wartime Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to facilitate these deportations back to Guantanamo. The New Republic states that Trump's FBI is taking steps to criminally charge significant climate organizations, and the EPA head intends to reverse numerous environmental regulations, among them those concerning climate change. Bill Gates' climate group has reduced its policy teams in the US and Europe. Los Angeles experiences a major winter storm, prompting evacuation warnings, rescues, and a tornado. Oracle is leading contender to help run TikTok in New Deal. In the U.S., Senate unveils its bid to curb U.S. investment in China as House waits. Don't use China as a hedge against U.S., Beijing's envoy warns Japan. Research indicates that 1 in 15 adults in the United States has personally encountered a mass shooting. A study has discovered connections between hostile tweets and the individual's upbringing as well as legal issues. Meanwhile, millions of individuals are joyfully participating in Holi, the vibrant Hindu festival of colors. Binance receives its largest investment ever in the cryptocurrency sector, with Abu Dhabi's MGX committing $2 billion. According to Wall Street Journal, the Trump family has engaged in discussions with Binance after the crypto exchange's guilty plea. An administrator of Garantex has been apprehended in India at the behest of U.S. authorities. Putin calls for the army to liberate the Kursk region while Ukraine retreats. Reuters indicates that Russia seeks proposals from companies for sanctions relief. The Kremlin communicated to the U.S. that it did not wish for Trump's Ukraine-Russia envoy to participate in peace talks. Astronomers have found 128 new moons around Saturn. Unlike Earth, Mars's middle atmosphere seems to be influenced by gravity waves. The rescue of stranded astronauts is postponed due to a launch cancellation by SpaceX and NASA. Meta AI achieves 80% accuracy in reconstructing typed sentences from brain activity. Apple is developing an AirPods feature capable of live-translating conversations. IBM CEO believes AI will not replace programmers in the near future. Khalil takes legal action against Colombia and lawmakers to maintain the confidentiality of activists' names, while Jewish demonstrators inundate Trump Tower's lobby to call for Mahmoud Khalil's release. Yale halts a Palestine activist following an AI article associating her with terrorism. In the United States, prestigious universities are implementing stricter budgets and limiting admissions due to federal funding instability, and Harvard has paused hiring as Trump contemplates withdrawing funding. Elon Musk claims that Doge is present in nearly all federal agencies and intends to increase the staff by twofold. Doge suggests reducing the IRS workforce by approximately 20%, and Bloomberg reports that Doge has 10 employees at Social Security searching for deceased individuals. The U.S. Postal Service plans to reduce its workforce by 10,000 following an agreement with Elon Musk's Doge. Elon Musk secretly visits the NSA after stating the agency requires an overhaul. A U.S. judge mandates that Doge and Musk provide records related to cost-cutting measures. Reuters indicates that Trump is aiming to establish minerals refining operations on Pentagon bases to enhance U.S. production, according to sources. Dollar General alerts that the financial situation of low-income Americans is deteriorating. Citigroup intends to significantly reduce IT contractors and hire employees to enhance controls. Tusk describes the meeting with Erdogan as a historic breakthrough, with Poland and Turkey pledging to collaborate on defense and arms production. A week ago, it was noted that markets are eager for EU war bonds, and Poland's president is calling on the U.S. to relocate nuclear warheads to Polish soil. Lukashenko claims that Americans lack a strategy for conflict in Ukraine. Meanwhile, Putin supports a U.S.-crafted ceasefire proposal but mentions certain nuances, and U.S. intelligence indicates that he still aims for Ukraine's domination. Seattle Kraken's Montour scores the NHL's quickest overtime goal in just 4 seconds. A biopic about Tiger Woods is being developed, with Barack and Michelle Obama reportedly in discussions to serve as producers. Versace is entering a new phase as Dario Vitale assumes leadership, following Donatella's decision to step down. Trump warns of a 200% tariff on European wine and champagne following the EU's suggestion to tax American whiskey. Tim Walz states, "We wouldn't be in this mess if we had won the election." The Hill notes that reductions in NASA's budget might hinder America's plans for Mars, potentially leading to the cancellation of significant space missions. Georgia's former president, Mikhail Saakashvili, has been given an additional 9-year prison sentence due to charges of embezzlement. Meanwhile, Portugal is preparing for an unexpected election following the government's failure to secure a vote of confidence. In a significant development, Armenia and Azerbaijan have reached an agreement on the terms of a treaty aimed at concluding nearly 4 decades of conflict. Anthropic CEO suggests an AI quit job button, leading to doubt. OpenAI states the AI race is concluded if training on copyrighted material isn't deemed fair use, labeling DeepSeek as state-controlled and advocating for bans on PRC-produced models. French publishers and authors file a lawsuit against Meta for using copyright works in AI training. Mozilla claims that Google's final remedy proposal in the US DOJ case will negatively impact independent browsers. 13 months ago, iRobot, the maker of Roomba, expressed substantial doubt about its ability to continue after Amazon terminated their deal, leading to a 31% staff layoff. UB Tech from China introduces a $41,000 humanoid robot as part of its effort to create more affordable machines. Japanese scientists have successfully produced a large number of cells for sperm and eggs using human-induced pluripotent stem cells. Beam's base editing therapy has demonstrated proof of concept in a rare lung disease. Research indicates that brain aging undergoes nonlinear transitions, pointing to a midlife critical window for metabolic intervention. SoftBank and OpenAI will operate AI agents at the former Sharp LCD plant. The Financial Times highlights that DeepSeek prioritizes research over profit, unlike Silicon Valley. Singapore prosecutors reveal that a U.S. server fraud case includes $390 million in transactions. 3 weeks ago, 3 men were charged with fraud, and the cases are connected to the suspected relocation of NVIDIA chips. BBC executives argue that the World Service should receive complete state funding to combat disinformation. Meanwhile, Newsmax has agreed to pay $40 million to settle a defamation lawsuit related to the 2020 election. Additionally, Meta's community notes will incorporate open-source technology developed by Elon Musk's X. Comcast secures a $3 billion agreement to retain the rights to the Olympics until 2036. Spotify introduces an initiative to release audiobooks by independent authors. The unproduced Star Wars, Underworld television series by George Lucas was estimated to have a production cost exceeding $2.4 billion. Meta prevents former director from promoting critical memoir, which reportedly portrays a harsh picture of Mark Zuckerberg. Huawei lobbyists detained in Belgium during raids related to EU corruption. China establishes a secure quantum satellite communication link with South Africa. Trump requests Supreme Court permission to implement a birthright citizenship ban in certain states. The U.S. and Israel are considering Africa as a destination for resettling Palestinians displaced from Gaza. An international group of Catholic bishops is participating in a march and vigil in Texas to protest against what they describe as immoral mass deportations. Musk suggests Stalin and Hitler were not responsible for the millions of deaths, it was public sector employees who did. Trump accuses Schumer of being a Palestinian while justifying GOP spending bill, egg prices, and tariff policy. Washington Examiner observes that America is going through a Christian awakening. Brazil is felling thousands of trees in the Amazon to construct a road for COP30. Japan is selling off emergency rice reserves due to rising prices. A study reveals that unoccupied housing in China's cities is releasing significant amounts of carbon.
Get your daily news fix from NewsSourceCrawler's latest edition. March 12, 2025, featuring crypto, politics, tech, and more. Number 1 hit and additional songs. YouTube Music Charts, Global Top Songs from February 28 to March 6, 2025. APT featuring Rose and Bruno Mars. Die with a Smile collaboration between Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars. El Mayor de los Ranas by Victor Valverde with J.R. Torres. AAJ Key Rat performed by Madhubanti Bagchi and Divya. Spotify Weekly Top Songs Global, spanning from the Friday, February 28 to the Thursday, March 6, 2025. Die with a Smile by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars, APT, by Rose and Bruno Mars, Luther with SZA, by Kendrick Lamar and SZA, and Birds of a Feather by Billie Eilish. Nintendo US digital top sellers starting March 10, 2025. Super Mario Party Jamboree, Minecraft, Overcooked. 2. Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Nintendo US digital top sellers starting March 10, 2025. Super Mario Party Jamboree, Minecraft, Overcooked. 2. Super Mario Bros. Wonder. CISA's cybersecurity alerts and advisories. CISA collaborates with ASD's ACSC, CCCS, NCSC UK, and various international and US entities to issue guidance on edge devices. One more drop in the ocean of AI. Electric Alexis Notogen. Notogen is a model for generating symbolic music, specifically focusing on creating high-quality classical sheet music. It draws inspiration from the achievements of large language models, LLMs, and employs a training process divided into 3 stages: initial training on a dataset of 1.6 million musical pieces, subsequent fine-tuning on approximately 9,000 classical compositions using prompts that specify the period, composer, and instrumentation, and final reinforcement learning utilizing our innovative SELA-MPDPO method, which does not necessitate human annotations or predefined rewards. Russia's inspections on China-Europe rail freight are leading to delays. Argentina has sent military forces to address a large fishing swarm led by China near its waters. Theft of coffee beans is increasing in the U.S. due to rising prices. Ukraine should give up land in any peace agreement, according to Rubio. A Trump envoy claims Zelensky apologized to the president over the Oval Office incident. NATO military leaders convene in Paris, excluding the U.S., to strategize a quick response force for Ukraine. RFK Jr. demands that food companies eliminate artificial dyes and instructs the FDA to amend the self-affirm rule to enhance food ingredient safety. He aims to close a loophole permitting chemicals in the U.S. food supply. Meanwhile, the Girl Scouts face a lawsuit over alleged heavy metals and pesticides in their cookies. Despite the COVID pandemic, a survey reveals that most Americans still trust the CDC and NIH 5 years later. Reuters has announced that CoreWeave has secured a $12 billion cloud contract from OpenAI, according to sources, prior to the company's IPO. Additionally, Reuters reports that Meta is initiating the testing of its inaugural AI training chip, developed internally. Furthermore, Roche and Zealand Pharma have entered into a $5.3 billion agreement concerning a novel obesity drug candidate. BlackRock's Fink warns that Trump's deportations will significantly affect agriculture and construction. HSBC reassesses its European stock outlook, lowering its U.S. expectations due to reconsideration of Trump optimism. In the United States, Representatives Ocasio-Cortez and Luna propose a bill to limit credit card interest rates to a maximum of 10%. In the United States, Homeland Security has revamped its asylum phone application, which is now intended for self-deportation. A Justice Department official claims she was dismissed for opposing the reinstatement of Mel Gibson's gun rights. Tulsi Gabbard has withdrawn security clearances for several high-ranking Biden officials and individuals who criticized Trump. Google is launching Gemma 3, an AI model that can operate on a single GPU or TPU, derived from Gemini 2.0. The AI agent Manus is collaborating with Alibaba's Qwen to create a Chinese version. Alibaba has introduced an AI model capable of reading emotions to compete with OpenAI. 12 days ago, it was announced that OpenAI released the GPT 4.5 AI model with enhanced emotional intelligence. Former President of the Philippines, Rodrigo Duterte, has been apprehended by the government following a request from the International Criminal Court, ICC, regarding his drugs war. Meanwhile, Elon Musk attributes a recent outage on the platform X to a massive cyber attack allegedly connected to Ukraine. The hacking group known as Dark Storm has taken responsibility for the distributed denial of service (DDoS) attack on X. In Pakistan, a tense standoff ensues as militants hold approximately 250 hostages aboard a hijacked train. Amazon will start streaming Trump's The Apprentice. Trump announces his purchase of a Tesla to demonstrate support for Musk amid declining sales, and he vows to classify assaults on Tesla sites as domestic terrorism. The California Pension Fund designates Chevron and Saudi Aramco as climate investments. A study reveals that merely 7 nations globally adhere to the WHO's air quality standards. Cuba experiences aging, as the island records its lowest birth rate since the Revolutionary Era. Saudi Arabia envisions unprecedented skyscrapers. Reportedly, startups starting to compete with big tech for India AI talent. Amazon, Google and Meta support tripling of nuclear capacity by 2050. Geothermal could meet 64% of hyperscale data center power demand, as per a study. The United States will remain a crucial player in the global climate change efforts, even in the absence of Donald Trump, according to the president of COP30. A recent study suggests that the Earth's atmosphere is contracting, which heightens the dangers associated with space debris. This is because climate change is expected to decrease the number of satellites that can safely orbit the planet. Additionally, Relativity has appointed Eric Schmidt as its new CEO while simultaneously advancing the development of its Terran R rocket. Sony Music reports the removal of more than 75,000 items in its ongoing efforts to combat AI deepfakes. Scale AI is under investigation due to claims that it is not adequately compensating its data labeling contractors. A leaked internal Sony video features Horizon's Alloy to demonstrate an AI-powered prototype of a PlayStation character. Microsoft Threat Intelligence revealed that a malvertising campaign results in information stealers being hosted on GitHub. NTT acknowledged that hackers obtained details of nearly 18,000 corporate customers during a cyber attack. Federal authorities connected a $150 million cyber heist to the 2022 LastPass hacks. Carlos Slim has decided to sever his connection with Elon Musk's Starlink and is instead investing a substantial $22 billion in establishing his own independent network. In a separate development, Airtel has declared a partnership with SpaceX to introduce Starlink's high-speed internet services to its customer base in India. Meanwhile, Elon Musk is attempting to arrange a meeting with the Italian president in an effort to rescue the Starlink deal, following reports from 7 days ago that Italy is becoming hesitant about proceeding with the agreement to utilize Musk's Starlink. Xi Jinping reportedly used a line of soldiers to prevent direct eye contact with Mark Zuckerberg, according to a new book. Additionally, a former executive claims that Facebook employees would intentionally lose board games against Zuckerberg. During the 2 sessions in Beijing, there are indications of increased protections for delivery riders. Meanwhile, Deliveroo has withdrawn from Hong Kong due to pressure from Meituan's app, and Uber has halted its acquisition of Delivery Hero's Taiwan Food Panda business because of regulatory challenges. Ukraine has accepted a 30-day ceasefire in exchange for weapons from the United States. Meanwhile, Poland is seeking 100,000 volunteers to undergo military training in 2027. Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, advises that governments should utilize EU loans to purchase goods from European manufacturers. Additionally, Bloomberg highlights that Estonia's startups are finding opportunities in Europe's rapid rearmament efforts. California prisons restrict inmate movement following a series of 7 homicides. Redfin reveals that the top 1% of wealthiest Americans have the financial capability to purchase 99% of the homes available in the country. The increasing worldwide demand for matcha is causing a shortage in Japan. Spain is set to implement significant penalties for failing to label content created by artificial intelligence. In the European Union, Apple and Meta have managed to steer clear of fines that could have reached up to 10% of their global revenue, instead encountering only minor sanctions. Meanwhile, Google has updated its Chrome extension policies in response to the Honey Link scandal, now imposing restrictions on questionable affiliate extensions such as Honey. In the United States, Senator Cynthia Lummis has reintroduced the Bitcoin Act, which proposes enabling the country to purchase $80 billion worth of Bitcoin. Meanwhile, Coinbase has registered with India's Financial Intelligence Unit and intends to launch crypto trading services within the year. Additionally, Thailand has given the green light for USDT and USDC to be traded on cryptocurrency exchanges. TikTok plans to implement a 10 p.m. curfew for the majority of teenagers. Lego is establishing an in-house game development team, creating a new studio. Waymo is providing round-the-clock robotaxi services in Silicon Valley. Syria has decided to incorporate the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces into its state institutions, following an agreement between the Syrian government and the SDF to integrate the northeast region. Angola's presidency announced that the country will strive to facilitate direct negotiations between Congo and M23. In a new book, the Dalai Lama advises his followers to oppose any successor selected by China, stating that his successor will be born in the free world outside of China. Stephen King's novel Cujo is set to be remade into a new film adaptation by Netflix. Universal has acquired Dennis Quaid's biopic about President Reagan for international distribution. Billboard has named Doekiai as the 2025 Woman of the Year. The U.S. Department of Education has reduced its workforce by approximately 50%. The White House has clarified that former President Trump will not reduce Social Security or Medicare following comments by Elon Musk. The U.S. Department of Defense has revealed that the Pentagon is cutting back on social science research to focus on fiscal responsibility and technologies for future battlefields. Elon Musk has stated that Doge cryptocurrency is present in nearly every federal agency and intends to increase the staff by a factor of 2. Meanwhile, Harvard University has decided to halt its hiring process amid threats from Donald Trump to withdraw funding. Additionally, Reuters has reported that Trump is considering the establishment of minerals refining facilities on Pentagon bases to enhance the United States' production capabilities, according to sources. During a speech at Harvard, the former Prime Minister of Israel humorously suggested he would provide protesters with exploding pagers. A comedian who made disparaging remarks about Puerto Rico at a Trump rally has secured a deal with Netflix. China is set to convene Russia and Iran for discussions on nuclear matters, coinciding with Trump's efforts to negotiate a weapons agreement. Volkswagen reinstates physical buttons after acknowledging touchscreens as problematic. An ancient DNA study reveals that pet cats came to China through the Silk Road 1,400 years ago. The discovery of kaolinite mineral on Mars hints at the potential for ancient life. Research indicates that microplastics disrupt plant photosynthesis, posing a risk of starvation to millions. The largest cross-cultural study to date reveals that sexism contributes to social problems affecting both men and women. A study proposes that the party drug MDMA might have shielded survivors of the Nova attack from trauma. Trump said Russia had all the cards, but this ceasefire proposal just called Putin's bluff. China to host Russia and Iran for nuclear talks amid Trump's bid to make a deal on weapons. Iran's president to Trump said, "I will not negotiate, do whatever the hell you want." Canada reverses its decision on the U.S. electricity tax as Trump plans to increase tariffs. Recently, Trump raised Canadian steel and aluminum tariffs to 50% in response to Ontario's energy duties and imposed new tariffs on Canada, renewing his 51st state demands. Trump's 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum imports are implemented, prompting Europe to retaliate with EU countermeasures targeting U.S. goods worth $28 billion. Australia decides against a reciprocal action on